Here's your trivia. Major League umpire that wears his headgear like I am right now. Oh, I'm getting dizzy. I don't know how he's doing it, but whatever. Ejections for 2019 were up to 217. That's the highest level since 2006. That means that the entirety of the replay review era, the most ejections were in 2019. That's this year. Pretty cool. In 2019, I want to specifically highlight ball strike ejections because that's the bulk of the ejection quotient here. 133 ejections this year for arguing balls and strikes. And that's a 40% increase over 2018. 2018 was 95, 2017 was 101. But more importantly, what I want you to notice is the umpire accuracy that is associated with the ejection call. So umpire calls strike 3, batter argues, gets thrown out. If the call was correct by the umpire, he gets a +1, 100% accuracy, because it's a sample size of 1. If it's incorrect, he gets a 0. So that's what that means. So in 2017, umpires were 54% accurate on calls associated with ejection for balls and strikes. In 2018, that climbed to 65%. And in 2019, that is 74%. So that's pretty significant. Umpires are right on ball strike ejections 75% of the time, or 74% of the time. That's 3/4 of the time, -1, I guess. The method has stayed the same from 2017, 18, and 19. It's not like there was anything that was changed. Everything's the same. So we can't explain it that way. The only way we can explain it is that it's a statistical explanation. We say law of averages and mean and all of that stuff. If MLB is claiming that their umpires are 97+% accurate on the zone evaluation system, then we would expect that as the sample size for balls and strikes ejections increases, even though it is a selective sample selected by the players, coaches, and managers of what they want to argue, we would expect that as the size grows of the sample, that so too would the umpire accuracy rate. And 2019 confirms that that is true. Yet I want you to think anecdotally. How many times have you seen people complaining about umpires getting something wrong? And so you would think that umpires are blowing more calls now because that's what the mainstream seems to say. Yet these statistics that I just read, and I have ample evidence, and I'm the only, and the spreadsheet and all of that, the statistics confirm that umpires are getting better now than they were before. So that is an interesting dichotomy to look at, that anecdotally it looks like umpires are bad, yet if we actually pay attention to the stats and the numbers, and I know that is a tall order for a lot of people, the umpires are actually getting better in terms of accuracy. As the robot umpire talk increases, the human umpires have actually improved. And Mark Williams of Boston University, remember, he's the one that said that umpires missed 34,000 or whatever it was pitches in 2018, and that was based off of MLB's numbers that are, well, we talked about that in a previous episode. He also says that umpires are improving, and umpires have been improving for quite some time. What I want you to notice as well is that on non-terminal pitch arguments, that would be strike 1, strike 2, ball 1, 2, 3, i.e. a non-strikeout or walk argument, mid-at-bat arguments went up. 57 ejections in 2019. Umpires were correct 79% of the time on those. So what that tells me is that, well, players, teams, coaches are not arguing necessarily when the umpire is wrong. They're actually getting worse at figuring out when an umpire was wrong. They just argue. The complaint rate has risen, but it's not correlated whatsoever with any issue of umpire accuracy. In fact, it is correlated with a greater umpire accuracy. So the complaint rate is up, but so too is umpire accuracy in relation to that complaint rate. One thing I also wanted to note was that run production after ejections. Teams, and this is defined as you get ejected, and then I log how many runs the team scores and how many runs the team gives up. So teams with ejections scored 444 runs cumulatively after ejection and surrendered a total of 443 runs to the opposition. That's pretty much perfect. That's an even split. That tells me that there's really not much of a positive effect in getting ejected on run production. And that's actually supported by the delta for ties. There were 35 ties at the time of ejections. And the teams that were ejected wound up losing the game 19 times and winning the game 16 times. That's a 457 delta winning percentage, which is also sub 500, so something to note. And finally, the batting average of ejected players. These are only batters who got ejected. What was their batting average performance in the game prior to getting tossed? This should come as no shock to anyone. They were hitting 26 for 205. That is a batting average of .127. Is it the umpire's fault? Well, 74% of the time, the umpire got the call right. So, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, and send us any rules questions because we'll break them down for you here at Close Call Sports.